Hello, Instagram. I am live yet again, and today I am very spontaneous because I was like, you know what? I want to talk about your soul's business. I want to talk about what it takes to create something that is pouring out of your soul, what it takes for you to realign with your soul's blueprint, what it takes to really love what you do, and how to let go of all the other stuff that doesn't belong in your reality. Now, I got inspired to speak about this because from time to time, I myself also fall into the trap of like, am I really in the same place where I'm meant to be? Am I really on track with my soul's guidance? Am I really where I'm meant to be in my life as a whole? Being here in Brazil, it just happened, right? I just surrendered to life, and here I am in Bahia, Brazil, living here for the last 9 to 10 months or so. Like, I never planned anything like this. It just happened. Now, here's the difference between life happened to me versus life presented opportunities to me, and I said yes to those opportunities. There was a time when I was very much asleep and very much on an autopilot in my life, and that's when everything really just happened to me. Meaning everything that I was doing, all the decisions that I was making were rooted in my belief system, which was basically my childhood, how I grew up, the environment, Lithuanian upbringing, Lithuanian political situation, and all of that stuff. Until one day I realized when I was 28 that, wait a second, actually, I didn't really want to do this thing. I didn't want to become a project manager. I didn't want to just work for someone else. It just happened. I didn't want to live in these cities. It wasn't like my dream come true to live in Brussels and Enschede in the Netherlands. I didn't want to live in Vienna, in Berlin. I never planned any of that stuff. It just simply happened because, I don't know, I got inspiration to go study abroad, and somehow it just happened that I got accepted in Berlin. So basically all of those circumstances happened automatically. Now, when your soul is guiding you, that's a completely different story. It doesn't just happen. It's not like you didn't have any control over what was actually happening. Instead, you're being presented with opportunities based on what you were envisioning, based on your vision, based on your mission, based on your purpose, based on your dreams, based on something that you were daydreaming. Maybe you were having a conversation with a friend. Maybe you were dreaming with your partner. Maybe you were just simply having a dream at night and you woke up in the morning and you were like, oh my God, that would be so freaking awesome. When you have that vision and then you're being presented with opportunities such as a random invitation to come to Brazil, and then you're like, interesting, I never planned it, and yet this sounds like a freaking awesome adventure. I would have never even thought that this would be something that I would ever do. It was never on my bucket list. So why the hell not? Let's be adventurous and just, stretch your comfort zone. And so you say yes to something that makes you excited. And so often people don't take that leap of faith simply because they're holding themselves back because of what their mind is constructing. Like, oh, it's too scary, it's too dangerous, it's too risky, it's too this, it's too that. And that's what I have done in the last years now, to build the muscle of being so fearless, or not fearless, but more like you feel the fear, but you do it anyway. You feel the fear, you look straight in the face of that fear, and you're like, actually, there's nothing to be afraid of. Like, what am I even afraid of? Is it just a construct in my head? Is it just a story? Is it just a narrative? Is it just that I'm saying something to myself? Is it my father's voice? Is it my grandmother's voice? Is it my whoever's voice? Like, who is speaking? Why would I be afraid of that thing? And when you look your fear straight in the face, then you're like, oh, actually, this is a freaking awesome opportunity. And it's disrupting all of my patterns. And I'm no longer going on this autopilot doing the same thing over and over and over again. But this is interrupting that pattern without me even consciously asking for it, but with an intention to bring me further and closer to my dreams, closer to that vision that I have, closer to those dreams that I have, right? And so when you start living your life that way, when you basically surrender yourself to life instead of being like, you know what, I will just sit around and do nothing. I will sit around and do the same thing over and over again. I fell into that trap in my previous business. For 4 years, I was stretching my comfort zone, for sure, over and over and over and over again. But at some point, I lost excitement. I lost that zest. I was like, I was not in love with it anymore. There was something missing. It felt like it became another autopilot. I turned it into a job. Instead of feeling like I was actually excited about what I was creating, instead of feeling like it's an innovation, it's like a lab where I'm creating something magnificent. It's a space where I'm creating something that is a pure expression of who I truly am, where, like I always say, it's my home. It no longer felt like it was my home, which in the beginning it did, and then slowly but surely it started going down the hill until I finally realized, you know what, now it feels like it's just another job. It feels like I have to do all these things. I have to show up. I have to create content. I have to talk to these people. I have to reply to these messages. I have to. I'm not even going to go into more details. So your job is to disrupt that. And your job is to learn to iterate and iterate and iterate and iterate. Your job is to continuously innovate. Your job is to continuously fall in love with your work, to continuously, I want to say force, but actually it's not forcing, because you are more like you're leaning towards inspiration even if it's uncomfortable. You're innovating because that's what your soul is asking you to do. So your work, again, is surrendering to life. So it's, if you have read the book by Michael Singer, The Surrender Experiment, it's an excellent book. I definitely recommend reading it. But the one thing that's missing in that book is having control over what you surrender to, having intention where you're actually steering your ship, where you're actually sailing, where are you going, what are you doing, what's your North Star, what's your purpose, what's your why, what are you actually creating, what are you actually aiming for. In the Surrender Experiment, the idea is to surrender to anything that comes your way. So like I said earlier, if I happened to be accepted in Berlin University, then I will go to Berlin. But wait a second, do I actually want to live in Berlin? Do I actually want to run this business? Do I actually want to do this thing? Or is it just because I was told that I'm good at it? And maybe it's because my clients just keep on, telling me that this is the best service I ever provided. So you need to address your own relationship with your business, your own relationship with your work, with your creation, with your art, over and over and over again, reconnecting with who you truly are. And guess what? Over time, you change. You are not like a tree. You are actually a moving target. That why, that purpose is also a moving target. It can change over time. So if at the time, maybe some years ago, maybe a few months ago, it resonated for you to work in whatever, in relationship coaching, for example, or it resonated for you to sell digital products, for example, but now you feel called to do something completely different and start offering business coaching, like in my case, or you want to start offering, I don't know, consciousness, a human design reading, whatever, then why not? You need to follow your intuition. You need to marry intention. You need to be so in tune with what is actually happening in your own soul, in your own body, to listen to that inner voice constantly, that you will receive guidance over and over again. You will constantly receive nudges of like, you know what about this thing? What about that thing? What about that opportunity? So in my case, how I became extremely fascinated by business, by online entrepreneurship, by solopreneurship, by fempreneurship, by women, powerful women who are disrupting the industry, which by the way doesn't mean that I only work with women. The reason why I was so fascinated by it is because I was presented with these examples, and I felt drawn to studying that stuff, and I felt drawn to do some research and to start looking into some patterns and relate to what do I have to offer in relation to all of this, and where are the gaps? What do I see as something that I could offer uniquely and authentically? And when you do research based on something that you truly feel called to do, and you're so excited to be like, you know what, I hate research, which is exactly what happened in the past. I hated research. Like, research was like, I don't need to do all this mental stuff. It makes no sense. Market research and all that stuff, it's too mental, it's too boring. I need to be so true to myself. I need to be in alignment with who I truly am. This was my thinking. And I was constantly rejecting what actually made sense. Because what made sense was to listen to my intuition, to go in those research phases and get immersed in the world of what really excites me. And when I saw all these individuals who were succeeding in these crazy awesome ways, I was like, wait a second. This is something that I have never seen anywhere else. This is something that I have never heard of. I'm just like, my jaw dropped. And I was like, I want something like this too. I want to create something like this myself. So again, I'm sharing all of this in order to illustrate how your soul is guiding you all the time. It is giving you insights, ideas, opportunities. The person who you had a conversation with in a, I don't know, doctor's office, maybe you watched a movie and there was a line which sparked something inside of you. Maybe you were scrolling on social media and you saw something that was like, oh wow, that's really awesome. Maybe, I don't know, maybe you went for a walk somewhere and you saw a billboard and I was like, that's cool. I never thought about it this way. And then because you start seeing all of these things, it's like a map that you start putting together. It's like all these pieces of the puzzle are starting to come together. And that means that it's not just some fluff stuff. This I'm talking about soul guidance. This I'm talking about mindset and really being focused on the vision rather than all of the lack belief system and everything that has to do with victimhood, everything that has to do with why you can't achieve something. But I'm talking about when you really take control over your mind fully, which by the way is at least 90% of why you're creating what you're creating depends on your mindset and your basically willingness to take responsibility for how much you really follow your soul's guidance. And then only 5 or 10% is actual strategy. So 5 to 10% is, okay, let's sit down, do this research, find out what makes sense, what's in alignment, why I want to do this, does it actually make sense, is it profitable, is it something that I can do, do I have all the skill sets that I have, or do I have to implement something, maybe I have to learn something, maybe I have to develop something, maybe I need to work on my website, maybe I need to work on my niche, maybe I need to work on my positioning and messaging, maybe I need to learn how to express myself, maybe I need to practice public speaking and start building my confidence and compounding my experiences over time so that my confidence also grows. So basically what you're doing is you're merging your soul's guidance and your mindset with strategy and really understanding, why are you here? What are you here to do? What kind of impact are you here to have? What difference are you actually making in this world? What do you want to help other people do or create or have? Are you an artist and you want to bring more of your soul into this world and to know and learn how to sell yourself and sell your art, present yourself and present your art? Maybe you are, I don't know, maybe you're a lawyer and you realize that the way you used to conduct your work as a lawyer was killing your soul, but you still believe in law, you still believe in justice. So what can you change there? Actually, a couple of days ago, I saw this really amazing couple of lawyers on Instagram who are just, they're taking a piss of the entire industry, but not to diminish it, but rather how serious it is. And they're just having fun. They're promoting themselves in this, like, if you will hire us, not only that you will receive excellence, but also you will have fun. And who on earth ever thought that law could be fun? So again, what I'm inviting you to think about is, do you feel like there is space for you to reinvent yourself? Do you feel like you're called to pivot? Do you feel like you want to change, to shift gears into something that is completely different? Or maybe it's just a slight shift, and more so than anything, it is about your energy. It is about bringing your personality into what it is that you're creating, bringing your essence into what you're creating. So you don't have to completely change your entire business. All you need to do is become more of you and present more of you, just like these two lawyers who used to run their business very traditionally, let's say, and then they were like, you know what, fuck this shit, I want to have fun, and I want to also encourage other people to kind of let go of all these preconceptions of what law is and what lawyers do and how they do business, and that it can also be fun. It can also put a smile on your face. It can also feel like an exciting thing to do instead of this, like, ooh, like yucky, danger zone. So I hope this makes sense. Let me know if you enjoyed this chat. Let me know also if you have any questions. By the way, again, my other account, which is the primary account, is Ruta Infusion. Go and follow me there. For whatever reason, I cannot go live there. It says that I'm not eligible to going live on that account yet. I have no idea why, because it's a brand new account from about a month ago. If you have an answer to that, then I would really appreciate. In any case, I would really also appreciate if you actually go and click a follow button. And also, if you have anything to share, feel free to DM me and let's have a conversation. Have a wonderful day.